No, we're not. Where's it
Right,
gone?
here we are. Thanks, guys. I have the pleasure to be welcomed and joined this year by two well-known gentlemen for different reasons. It's an honour to have the current captain, Mr. Garry Aspinall, and also a man in his own right as famous, Mr. Roy Moore, both holding, I suppose, important positions in the club. One a thankless role, and one a role which you can do no wrong. That's not you, Roy, by the way. So, first of all, many congratulations and many thanks for making this IT so much easier than Monty and Cammy. That was painful.
We haven't finished yet.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we've already done one better. So, to start us off, my normal new question now, starting with you, Mr. Captain. Year you joined, who the captain was at the time, and who proposed you? Both times. If you forget, you left and came back. So let's start the first time, Garry. The first time you joined.
Well, if we go back to the year, I think it was about 96. I don't know, it might have been Les Howard. He's around that era. Monty was obviously my sponsor. Before that, I was at Charlton for a few years because I just couldn't get in at Northenden. There was no dead man's shoes. So, and I played there.
That's probably more to do with the reason that Monty was your proposer than having space. Yeah, sorry, Gaz, we're full. You're on top of the waiting list. It's like my Witchwood waiting list. You're on top of the waiting list.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he has got that sleight of hand, hasn't he? So, yeah, I went there and played for quite a while, and the pro there was a guy called Dave Screeton, and in the early 80s, he was he was the leader of the Open for 14 holes on the first day. So that's his only claim to fame. But we all used to congregate for a Sunday 8 o'clock for the Sunday League. And God, I used to leave the golf club at 4 o'clock. It was dark because there were some really heavy drinkers at Charlton, trust me. And then, yeah, after that, I moved to Northenden, which was, I loved Northenden. I always wanted to play there. Unfortunately, I got in, and the rest is sort of history.
Oh, nice one. And you, Roy? How about you, Roy?
Not me. Well, my wife bought me some lessons, contemplating that I would be retiring shortly, and she wanted me to have some outlet, which I bet she's really sorry now. I actually joined in 2004. James Curtis was the pro, and John Doherty was the captain, although for the first 5 or 6 years, I don't think anybody knew I was there. I was one of the people who arrived and just played golf very, very infrequently, and basically with friends. My claim to fame, or trying to get into the club, was when I tried to join the fiddle on a Sunday.
I was going to bring the story up.
And as possibly is well known in the annals of the history of golf at Northenden, I'm the only person who was not to be there. But that was a bit of fun, or it didn't feel fun at the time. It could have obviously lost me as a member. But I kept meeting Peter Hargreaves and saying, I'll be back. And then when John Foster was captain and Colin Rankin had invited me to join the seniors, that's when I actually fell in love with golf at Northenden. Because by that time I'd retired, I'd been there a few years, and felt I could offer something to the club. So,
now we can't get rid of you.
You never know.
We are trying. You never know.
People have tried, and I'm always open to challenges.
Garry, what a lot of people don't know is that you used to be the general manager of Northern Golf Club for a short period of time.
Yeah, it was about 18 months.
Was it that long?
Yeah. Obviously, the club was in a bit of a financial situation, and a bit of a crisis, really. And so the general manager of that was there,
Alison.
Alison, yeah, obviously could see what was sort of happening, and it was getting tougher and tougher to deal with that. And she left. She went to another golf course and left, which left people, obviously, the committee. What do we do? So I got a call because I wasn't working at that time. And got a call and said, "Would you mind sort of filling the role?" So I did, and I must admit the shock after the first 2 or 3 weeks of.
You mean 2 or 3 hours?
Well, yeah, it was pretty noticeable straight away that we were financially struggling really deep. And so the biggest hurdle to get over was to convince people that, yes, we've run out of money. Yeah, we always run out of money at the end of the year. We're talking about the end of July, not the end of the year. So it was one of those. Now, it wasn't quite as bad as that, but it was pretty serious. And obviously, once people got to know and understand, then we started to work on that and how we move forward.
I remember those dark days there, because there's loads of other things going on at that time too, weren't they? I think you mentioned someone in the past already today, but there was a few dark times there. Did you hand over to Paul Bailey then?
Yeah.
You go to Paul Bailey, then you. Okay.
Yeah.
So question for Roy. So Roy, got some great stories about you, Roy. You know.
You know more stories about me than I do.
No, well, I've got some, but I go back to, because you're on council too. Well, you don't call it council anymore, do you? Captain's committee, is that right? You call it Captain's committee?
Yeah.
I remember when you first went on to, it might have been called council back then.
It was.
The council was Captain's committee the first time you went on.
Yeah, no, I was only, I've only been, 5 years, isn't it? 5 years, so I think it was council. I don't remember much about it.
I'll tell you what I do remember, and you remember, is your vote. Because you went head to head with Bernie, didn't you?
Oh, well, that was the second time.
Well, the first time you almost filled in, didn't you, for the end of the original tenure, and then you went up head to head with Bernie. And from what I remember, did you win by one vote?
I
won by one vote.
And you still haven't paid me yet for putting both my hands up at the back. You do realise that?
Les Massey, God rest his soul, had got a vote in his pocket. But obviously it was the teller the same day and forgot to put his vote in, which you don't know whether it was going to Bernie or to me, you see.
Okay, let's not talk about that sort of stuff. So what is, I was thinking about this earlier, what is your title? Is it handicaps chairman or chairman of comps or something else?
Chairman of handicaps and competitions.
Yeah.
So some might say that is one of the worst jobs to ever do. People would rather cut their own hands off than do that job. Why did you want to do that?
Why did I want to do it?
Because you were under a lot of pressure, because you had a lot of stereotypes out there. People who stereotyped you going, what does this guy know about golf?
That was the biggest problem, right? The problem was I had fancied doing the job once I got involved in the club after being involved with the seniors and being involved with the Friday Frolics and looking after them through John Foster's captaincy year. And at that time, Les was doing a good job. And I started to take a bit more interest in what Les was doing because he was always left on his own. Nobody seemed to be helping him. And then
Les Massey?
Yeah.
But let's not forget, though, he did that. He wanted to do that on his own, to be fair. He didn't want the help.
He wanted. I think he realised he couldn't do it on his own. So when the year came round that Paul Wilson said he was not putting his name again, I decided I would have a go to help out. Okay, and that was where it all started. And of course, when I won the vote, I was more shocked than anybody, first time. And yes, I could understand all the aggro as to why I, who was a non-golfer, was going to run the competition for them. But there was no help to start with. So yes, for the first 2 years or 9 months or even whatever time it was, the strain was that I knew nothing about what I was doing, but nobody else was there to help me. Nobody
Has
else.
that changed?
Lots,
I'm only
lots-
joking.
Les did his best to help, but unfortunately, Les was so set in his ways, and there was so much more we could have done that what hadn't been done, and Les didn't want to change anything. So the aggro, even with me and Les, it was aggro. Okay.
I've got some more stuff to you. I'll come back to you, Roy, about the chairman and cop stuff, because we could spend hours on that. I'm not going to yet.
Don't.
No, back to you, Garry. You know, are you the only captain who's ever done GM and captaincy?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll get Monty to put that on his history questionnaire.
Yeah, it's more of a Monty that.
But you've also been social chair. Okay.
Yeah.
Talk us through, because again, I mean, it's a strange world. So, I mean, you're obviously, out of the three of us, the longest serving member here. Roy, you're totally right. I thought you joined after me. But obviously you hadn't. You just wanted to join 4 years before me. So
Yeah, I wasn't there.
But three of us, I mean, we've been a long time. We know most things about how stuff happens. I think a lot of people, though, don't know how a captain's chosen and that process. So, do you want to talk us through that, Garry, and then tell us how your experience was when you got asked?
Well, it's difficult. It's sort of it's a simple process in that somebody asks you what, and it has to come from obviously one of the ex-captains. There's an ex-captains committee. Basically, that's all they do.
Headed up by Pete Coppard.
Headed by Pete Coppard, and anybody who wants to put forward somebody. And the normal question is, would you like to be the captain? Because there's no
one else who wants to do it.
Well, there's no nailed on decision if just the captain comes to you. If there's three people who have been proposed, then it's in the hands of all of the ex-captains. And they vote, they have a discussion and a vote, and they meet up normally in about August, and they decide who would be the best in that particular year. That doesn't mean to say that other people would come along or come back in the following year. That was always an option. Yes, I'd been approached quite a number of times, but obviously I was never going to do it. Until
and who asked you? Is it Pete Copper that asked you? Is that his role? Who asked?
Monty would approach, which was my sponsor with Cammy, would approach. Would you be interested? But I had another in the past. I had a couple of other people also did that as ex-captain. The only time Peter Coppard comes back is he phones me to say
good news.
Good news.
Was that over the phone, was it, Garry?
Yes.
And when you put the phone down, what were your first thoughts?
Fantastic. It's something I always wanted to do. It's fantastic. I wouldn't do it until we got to I was ready to retire. I retired in January, end of January last year. Obviously, I became captain in November, but there's not a great deal going on between that part. I was vice captain. So there wasn't a great deal going on at that point. But then I went and had a hip operation and then came back fully loaded, absolutely keen to go. And since then, it's been very busy, apart from COVID-19.
Apart from playing golf.
I'm going to say, to you two, it is funny, actually, it's actually probably more coincidence got you both on now, thinking about it. In terms of your roles, Garry being the honorary leader of the golf club, from a golfing perspective, and Roy being in theory, the machine which makes the golfing aspect work, has this, which is true, so since your year, in theory, your year started when, Garry? October or November? It's around there, isn't it?
Second Friday in November, the decision is ratified at the AGM.
AGM, so November, December, we're coming to month 7 to 8 now. So,
Thanks.
in reality, you two have had the easiest and quietest months. It's like you've both been furloughed for 8 months, doing nothing. How's that changed? Has it obviously been less day-to-day involvement, but have you found there's still stuff going on in a good way, bad way? Obviously, Roy, I'm thinking you probably have more time now to get your head around the whole new handicap system and get things into place there.
I think the thing that you sorry, Roy, but the sort of way to go about that is to look at what you want to do during that year, what your key priorities, and start to plan those out and discuss people about how feasible it is, especially, you know, Roy, who and Lady Captain, but Roy in terms of competitions and handicaps is key to the golfing world that we have at Northenden. So we work very close together, and obviously if I want to do something like I wanted an away day and they need to come to us and we go to them, and we need to understand how that fits in with what Roy has already planned. So there's a lot of effort. There's a lot of effort that goes into over the first few months. Well, so December, January, February, in order to, once you get, hopefully we get there, but once we get to sort of mid-April, then it really is looking after the golf and golfing and doing a huge amount of golf for 5 or 6 months. And then you're really looking at your plan going backwards about how are we going? How, you know, is anything going to upset what we've got planned? If so, how do we move it around? So we are flexible, but the best thing is to have 3 months where you plan everything for your year.
And Roy, of every person in the golf club who is an employee or a member of a committee or a director, I reckon you're the one who gets the most interaction with the members. And usually it's one way, not two-way process. And I feel sorry for you, Roy, because you're probably the only person, apart from maybe Lisa or the office, who has regular interaction from all areas of the membership, and most of the time, all with their own different goals, agendas, and likes. You know, and I know I'm a big advocate saying I think medals are boring, and we should play more fun golf. And I'm a bit loud about that, but there's other people who will say the opposite, and we can have some banner back and forth. So you've got that in your ear. How do you talk us through your normal day in the life of these calls, and how do you? Ultimately, it's your role to make the decision which you think pleases the most. And you're not always going to win. Talk us through that side. People don't see that side. All they see is the fixture list, the results, the cards, and done.
Yeah. Well, the difficulty is, as Garry says, that we plan a year, and if the year goes well, it's quite easy. But since I've been in charge, I think we've had the worst winter, we've had the best summer, you know, and then we had a crap start to this year. Gary's already planning for his captain's day, his captain's farewell, and his captain's driving on the same day.
On the same day, yeah.
Yeah. So all these things we talk about, or we have to try and play in advance. But the programme itself in the summer is really simple, because we've got to try and fit in the board competitions and the qualifying competitions. And then I try to put in as many games away from them, so to involve all the membership. But there are elements of our membership who only want to play one game. They don't want anybody to have any fun games. They don't want any members to want to be able to play golf just for the fun of it. Okay, so it does create a problem. So you try and fit
and vice versa. Let's be fair on other people too. Vice versa.
You try to find a balanced program, right, which works on paper, but then obviously, right, the weather and everything comes into that, and also anybody ringing up for something else. So you're always trying to work a month in advance. So you might be playing on Saturday, which is the 17th of May, right? But I'm already trying to look at what's going to happen in June, because obviously what we've missed has got to be put in as well. So there are quite a few decisions you have to make in advance and hope that people will accept what you're doing it for. But unfortunately, quite like you said, very little people say thanks. There's a lot of people who just ignore everything and just think it happens. And there are quite a few who think they should have a conversation with you, but it's always negative. But I've got used to the negativity now.
I was going to say, Roy, you know, this first couple of years, I know personally for you, they were quite tough. At some, you know, at one point it got very tough, but then, you know, as time goes on, you know, your skin gets thicker, your experience gets better, and do you know what it's like though, Roy? Especially in our golf club, people hate change. Do you know what's funny? I was talking to someone the other day about it. In fact, you were probably both there. When I was on council, I think. Remember, we had to do a vote. Well, for somebody who voted at AGM, a motion, that motion, first of all, has to get passed at council.
Yeah.
And I remember I was on council, and what should have taken 10 seconds to agree the motion took probably 15 minutes, probably longer than that, 30-minute debate for 3 council meetings in a row, just to have the motion to vote on whether you can wear jeans in the clubhouse on a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday between 5 and 9. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Just for that. And then when the AGM came, that whole, instead of here's the motion vote, there was back and forth debates which lasted a long time, and the vote only got passed by 4 people, 5 people. And to be fair, I'd recruit a lot of people who wouldn't normally come to AGMs, and I look at it, it is so different. So everyone hates change, but once they get used to it, it's normal. So surely now, I'd like to think, Roy, last year, 18 months, you know, you should hopefully be experiencing what the job should be like, a bit more easy. You might get 1 thank every 20 days as opposed to 1 every 50 days.
It's certainly calmed down, but now we've got the new handicap system coming on, which will take a lot longer than this meeting to discuss. That will create a massive change going forward, which I think will help the persons who are running competitions and handicaps, because you will have to allow people to play golf at their handicap and not keep saying you can't have that handicap, you can't do that. But it will work itself out.
What do you mean by that? Where you have competitions where it's max 20, for example? Or is that what you're talking about? Or?
Yeah. I think you're going to have to change it. Once again, there's going to have to be a lot of changes. Because as soon as people mention a 54 handicapper, there won't be many of them, but people have got to start at what they believe. And when I came to the club, I started on a handicap which would have destroyed me, because I should have been playing on 54.
Everyone has goals, Roy. Everyone has goals.
I'm getting there. I'm getting to 30.
Yeah. But one question for you, we can talk about now, kind of, for both of you actually, because we've all 3 of us been on council. I've never been on the captain's committee, but you 2 have, you know, past and present. And again, open question: how has it changed, and what benefits has come from it, in your opinion? You go first.
I think it makes us focus on golf much better than getting hung up over all sorts of things in terms of where's the money coming from, what's happening with members, what's happening on the course. I think the directors have a responsibility, you know, health and safety, health of the finances of the club, and that takes it all the way from sort of the captain's committee. The captain's committee is fully focused on the golf, obviously the handicaps, socials, grounds. So everything that is around. Obviously, there's some overlap when we need some money for the grounds to update or replace. That's unavoidable. And at present now we have Andrew, who is looking. He is the intermediary from the captain's committee and the directors. He's on the directors' side of things.
Andrew Taylor.
Sorry, Andrew Taylor.
Yeah.
So he's sort of doing that side of things, but obviously there's an overlap there with Chris and myself in terms of spend and what we need and how we need to do it. And the great thing that he's you know, Larry has done a fantastic job with the draw that we have every month, 500 club. He's been fantastic and driven that all the way to where we are now, and that gives us a huge amount of money that we can then expend onto the golf course, and that's where all that money goes to. And I know Larry is a bit of a a bit of a joker sometimes.
Is he?
But I have to sort of tip my hat to him and say, well done, Larry.
Oh,
Can't disagree. He's a lovely fellow, Larry.
100%. Well, we've known Larry for a long time.
Yes.
Pre-captain, his captain's year, and post-captain's year. You know, and do you know every day that update, that coronavirus curve, yeah? You could probably do a similar curve on Larry, but with different things on the axes. And you know what? Yeah, that 500 club, and we all joke about it. You know, there used to be a 6-month point where I couldn't go to the golf club without Larry being there trying to sell me the 500 club, even though I'm in it anyway, and I've got like 6 numbers. I still haven't won. And by the way, Larry, I'm sure my numbers aren't even in the draw, so you check that. And but what he's done, and don't forget, it's not just him. To be fair, he gets the main credit because he's a driver. It still takes the people to buy tickets, which generates the revenue. But what that fund has done is generally goes unseen, to be fair, apart from that small nucleus of the club. And there's so much stuff we bought or rented or done with that money, which completely saved us and changed. Otherwise, we've been absolutely goosed, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Done it right.
For you, Roy, don't go. I know it takes too long, but for those who want to know, in layman's terms, and try to put it just the top end stuff, how does this new handicap system work? What are the main changes? So currently, the current system is, depending on what category you are, you either got 0.1 if you can play over, or you go down 0.1 or 0.2, 0.3, 0.20 category for every shot below the scratch. In simple terms, you with me?
Yeah. The simplest thing is, right, there'll be no 0.1s.
Yeah.
So nobody should be able to manipulate their handicap going
How
up.
dare you? Who does that?
I can't imagine who I'm talking about.
Franco's gone.
Listen, God rest his soul. Yeah, another one. No, the answer is right. It will be your best 8 scores out of your last 20 medals or Staplefords, which count for qualifiers. Your best 8 averages. So your averages, an average player, a proper average player, 5, 6. Those will stay where they are. They won't move very much. It won't affect them very much. But some of as you get older, because you want to stay at 7, if you want to stay at 8, you won't be able to, because your golf does mean that you won't get there as many times. So your golf will go up. Whether you like it or not, your handicap should reflect your age, really. And it doesn't do, and it hasn't done.
It's not necessarily age, Roy. I think it's about form
and
as
ability.
well.
Age, well, ability. You lose length. You lose the will to live some days, and people just don't understand. So if you want to play at 10, right, you won't play as many games. But if you know, and you can't always play there. And then you get upset when people who are winning off 18 and 19 because you've not let your handicap allow it to go up. You know, I've offered people on the handicap review we've done over 3 or 4 years, said, look, you got down here for a shot increase. No, I don't want a shot increase. No, don't give me an increase, Roy. I'm quite prepared not to let them take it, but really it's wrong. You know, the answer is that you should be playing off more than you are, and you would then you can't then complain if you don't win anything. So.
It's so true, Roy. And that's what really surprised me. And again, it's probably my mentality. My mentality is obviously different to most. You know, I'm not I'm not a medal type of player. No. You know, I'm all for fun. You know, and I actually want to go up. Do you know what I mean? I want to have an easy, fun life. But it's funny.
You will go up, but because you've not played enough games, you need to play some games this summer to allow the WHS to work for you next year.
Hey, I'll take 18 now if you want, Roy.
Done.
I can tell you that way. But you stop any complaints.
I have a story about this. it obviously involves Monty, but Monty's old fettlers, we used to have out the High Grove, we used to have quite a number of people down there from Northenden Golf Club. And I was at Chorlton, but people, there was this nucleus of about 20 people who we used to play 3 times a year at various clubs, normally around the Mersey. And we played at Chorlton one day, and Monty always won. He was always in the winning enclosure somewhere. And I was off 28 at the time, and I was playing at Northenden, at Chorlton, sorry. So we went round, and I think I got 39 points, but it won. So immediately, so he was not happy. Let's put it that way. He's whinging. So we get to the presentation after we've had the meal, and he comes over and he said, right, here's the money for the, well done. And here's something else for you. So I opened up the envelope and I went from 28 to 18.
Yeah,
10 shots on a 39 point.
All done that.
This is definitely old school. Yeah.
Oh, general plays. They still do general play, Roy.
Yes, but they frown upon it, but it is still there. Okay.
What's funny? I remember the first time I heard about general play would have been, again, I think my second year here, 2008, 2009, around that winter time. And it was winter, and I'd done quite well over the winter. I picked up quite a lot of money, actually. The winter comps, well, it's perfect for me. Shortened course, lifted place anywhere. Well, that's great. That's perfect for me.
Yeah.
And Chris Lister and I, we lost in the final of the foursomes. What's it called now? Anyway, we lost in the final of the foursomes. On that
the cannon.
That's it. And I remember the final was on a Sunday morning, and that Sunday afternoon was probably United City Day, I can't remember. And the day before the Saturday, I'd lost the Sunderland Trophy by 1 point to Ian Denby. And it's a long story. I was 38 points, playing the 18th. Ian Denby was already in 39. I was in the middle of the fairway, I had like a 3/4 wedge to 18. Knock it on 2 parts of wind. Remember the old garden behind the clubhouse? There used to be a hut there, didn't it?
Yeah.
The top of that hut. And it's bounced over the back of the 9th green. Fortunately, PB found it anyway, walked off. So I lost that. I lost to Sunderland. Before I go out, Paul Wilson comes up to me and goes, Lex, you better read this before I put it up. What's this? He got me 2 shots of general play to get from 12 to 10, I think. I've won nothing. I can't believe it. If you know what Paul Wilson's like, wow.
Very good. Yeah. I keep getting complaints that I don't do enough general play. It's because I don't believe in it. And unfortunately, I've got to take a back step on that and allow our committee to look at it now. But hopefully, WHS will take all this over, because the averages will mean people either come down quicker or go up quicker, rather than 0.1s. And
as you tell me, Roy, the computer, it's all automated.
It is.
It's all automated. And the people who talk about general play, I'm guessing, are the ones who aren't winning and seeing other people win.
Absolutely.
And if it was the other way around, guess what?
No complaints.
Yeah, exactly. But that's to be fair, that's just probably the same in every golf club up and down the country. You with me?
Yeah.
The answer to that is definitely that they want it one way. But hey, what it is.
And obviously, you saw an update come through today from the golf club.
Yeah.
For those who haven't read it, let me just I'll just read it out. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read out the main bit. You guys want to then, from a captain's committee, just to mention it. You may have seen in the media that England Golf has had encouraging talks with the government, although no date has yet been announced for golf's resumption, blah, 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 blah. Throughout the lockdown, we have been keeping our reopening plans under review, and we are now finalising them, working through the England Golf guidelines with the Captain's Committee to ensure a safe return to golf for our members. During this process, the tee system will be shut, obviously, We'll inform you as soon as we're able of a starting date for play. I'm guessing that's going to be relying on what the government says too, along with clear guidance on the play safe, stay safe regulations. So a lot of ambiguity there for obvious reasons, but I know there's only so much you could probably share with us, but what do you think golf looks like? Assuming when it does open, let's not talk about date, you know, what will golf look like in the short term?
Well, short term will be casual golf. We can't run any competitions because we can't do the things we want to do. So initially, it'll be just casual golf. Right? You'll have to book in to play. You won't be able to roll up and play. Okay, and it will be looking like it will be in 2 balls. So if you want to play with Peter Baker, rather than you and Peter turning up, you're going to have to book a tee time, because if we're playing 2 balls over the whole of the day, we can only get 105 pairs or 105 players out. We can't get the players out that we could normally get playing 4s or even 3s. So there's obviously going to be a restriction, and as you are all like us, can't wait to get on the golf course. We do expect like a VE day on day 1, people wanting to play golf. So we'll wait and see what happens. And when we get to competition golf, it'll just be back to normal. But until we can get to proper competition golf, it's going to be 2 balls under restrictions. That's all it'll be.
And who's gonna steward that? Who's gonna make sure it works? So Saturday,
we've not identified who would do it, but we're aware that we may have to have wardens wandering around, which are obviously.
Garry, this is a great portal for you to invite wardens to volunteer.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're interested in helping the club, give Garry a call, or boy, via the usual channels.
We already have at least 1 and maybe 2 who have offered, but I think we need more than that.
John Dwyer will be there. He's always doing that sort of stuff. We love that stuff.
Yeah. You know, the other things that are possible, and again, we've got to be clear on exactly what the government rules are once they say, yes, we can open it up. But again, from England Golf's point of view, it'd be things like you sit in the car until the guys have gone off the tee, because we don't want people mingling around the tee. Then once they've gone, then you've got your start time, you go onto the tee. And when you come back, you go straight into in your car and drive off.
Hey,
again,
half our Saturday field do that anyway. So they rock up and rock her up again. So that don't matter.
So there are those sort of things, and you know, going back to Roy, we have a dilemma with bunkers in that you've got to have at least half that are active within any competition.
Oh, to make it a valid competition?
Yeah, to make it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So half of them have to be playable. If you've got half of them, you might as well have them all there. So, but we can't use the rakes. So everybody's got to have a separate rake.
You know,
people bring his own rakes.
Yeah, true. But at the same time, how many bunkers do we have? Someone knows that question. How many bunkers do we have?
About
no
63.
idea.
How many?
About 63.
63. But you know what? If you thought carefully of it, you could probably nominate bunkers, the ones which aren't actually in play that often.
Yeah.
With me.
Absolutely.
Quite a few there. That'll probably take 15, 20 out of the way. But
yeah. You need 1 in play on each hole. You need 1 bunker in play on each hole at least. Right, okay. But you say we're 63, you've got to get 5. Got to get the other 5 from somewhere else on each hole. So.
Yeah, for me, the only, like for example, 7, the only bunker in play for me on 7 is greenside on 12. I'm in there freaking low, so.
I don't think we can really go down that route, right? I get England Golf will want us to be as honest as we can, right? But the reason for, if you've got to have the...
What are you saying, Roy?
I can't play any competitions this year at the moment, you know, so all your board comps, all your founders and everything is really in abeyance until we can actually get to play proper golf. So for initially, it'll be casual golf, which is going to upset a lot of people because we've just not got enough to retain the membership and retain people's pleasure in coming down. I don't think social golf in 2s works every day, you know.
No, but you know,
I like playing with Stan. I like playing with everybody in the fiddle, but we can't all agree that we're going to get times during the day to play there because you won't have enough times to start with.
True,
So
but
I
you
can't
know,
wait back to competitions.
that's what you said there, but it's what you make of it. It's not like the golf club saying you can't play. You know, it's not the golf club making that decision. So you make most of it. And, you know, of course, some people are going to get annoyed about it. I get it. But then a lot of people will make the best of a bad situation. You know, I'm going to be talking about it already to my guys, our guys. You know, we've already got ideas what we're going to do. You know,
Oh, good.
play pairs. It's all like the old Thursday fiddle type of thing. In twos, you still have fun with it. You know, still
Yeah.
your mates, still then, you know. And another question probably be, and this might not be the right place to ask, is you're right, when that door's open, it ain't just going to be members rocking up. Every Tom, Dick and Harry's going to be rocking up.
Visitors won't be able to come.
That's the question, because Saturday's contract. So you know, visitors on the Sunday,
Yeah.
is it going to be every visitors or not? Because then you've got the balance of, you don't look after members, we've got to stick within the rules, but a bigger issue is we need the income.
Well, unfortunately, right, until we can actually play, well, this is actually, as you say, it's not set in stone, but if you look at it, with the amount of people who will want to play, we won't have enough tea times to allow visitors, right? Not unless they can play under competition rules, because we can't really take money off them to play social golf all the time. They want to be able to play the full golf course. And they're the same. Most visitors come in fours. There's not a lot of pairs coming. You know, they come as fours or.
True, actually, good point. But you might have to split it to 2-2s. I don't know, but there's loads of ways we can make some fun things. But it won't be official club events. It's just some side things.
We are looking at every angle and just waiting to get together to get some idea. Because obviously we need the income, but the income from casual golf from memberships won't help us at all. We need to be open. So.
Yeah, nice. And then the bar as well. That's a big.
I think the two ball is either a rule or it isn't. It's not a Northern Golf Club rule. So everybody will, if we can play in threes, we'll play in threes. But it looks like to start off with, it'll be done in twos. And that's England golf. But once we get to know that that's the case, then yes, in the short term, I'm pretty sure we won't be looking at visitors coming down. But that doesn't mean to say that we can change that later to say, yeah, we've got some slots and we should be able to make it. And the thing is that if it's a two ball, tough, wherever you go, you're going to have to play a two ball. Because we will.
I'm guessing that's mainly because to try to make that distinct as easy as possible. You know, but I'm guessing though, we'll limit the tee times to members, but the course ain't going to be rammed Monday to Sunday all day with me. So there's going to be definitely gaps in there where visitors can play if they want to play, with all the stipulations.
But we need to monitor it because we've got no pro. We've got, you know, everything's got to be monitored. So we've got to look at it as a new. Yeah, we want to monitor it better. So we need more volunteers to help us.
That's a good plea for help, Roy.
Absolutely. Ring the captain.
But
thanks for that.
Potentially, it could be quite likely that we have no board comps this year.
Sorry?
It could be a scenario we have no board comps this year.
Well,
I don't want to claim that means I'm reigning champion for next year longer.
There are definitely some competitions which we're going to lose, but we haven't made our minds up yet. But you know, that we have got to lose some this year because we won't have enough time to get them all in. And you tell me what to lose, and don't let me make that decision.
And you know what, Roy? I'd be upset and disappointed if people don't understand the reasons behind it.
Yeah.
You with me? I mean, unless they've been living in a cave and not knowing what's going on, or they've got complete disregard of their own lives and people around them. It's just silly.
It's like the football season, which they're trying to get organised. If you look at it from a point of view, it should be cancelled. Period. Finished.
Let's a Liverpool fan.
Hey?
Let's a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, far too much money involved in it, so they want it back.
No, I get that. So,
There's
Garry,
a Liverpool fan here, by the way, so be careful.
I know, mate, I know. So, my mum's lady captain of her club at the moment. But you both know my mum. And like you, Garry, she's been captain and no golf, no nothing. So I think at their club, they'll be asked if they want to extend their captain's year into next year, which is, again, a whole different subject. Any chat going on that now with you? Because you've had half a year of zero golf, pretty much, with the weather and this virus.
Yeah.
that's obviously up to the captain's committee, and obviously it affects the vice captain, who would be in the following year. Yes, I've had a few off-cuff remarks about that from ex-captains, quite a number of them. How they take that and how they move that along is up to them, and if it does happen or if it doesn't happen. But then again, that would have to go through
yeah, of course. I mean, it's a new thing for everybody. It's just,
yeah,
and some people, you might get asked, you might actually want to do it. So it's quite interesting, to be fair.
Does that mean that my year's cancelled as well?
Hey, Roy, it was funny. I've been doing this thing. I suddenly realised I'm on the captain's committee. Am I a captain's committee?
You are. Well, you've never been.
Committee.
No.
I'm on captain's committee, and this is my first of 3 years having been social again. So I'm not extending it. Well, in fact, I've had the easiest gig.
You have.
Easy, no events, job done. That's
Nothing.
I mean, trying to do your race night, Garry, this, that, and the other, done. But on the flip side, I'm hoping, all goes well, that barbecue day in July now comes even more of a get together and do stuff.
Yes.
In a fun golf format.
Yeah, that's fine.
Really joking, Roy. Really joking.
Listen, I only perform in fun games. I can't perform in medals. Too much pressure.
Do you know what, Roy? For a bit of a giggle, and I'd vote for this too, because there's not going to be enough weekends left this year to do all the board comps potentially.
No.
I reckon we just go sod it. One day, you've got all 6 board comps whatever to play for. Just one.
Let's take them all on.
It's all of them. Right. Or you sign in, you pick which 2 you want to go for. Do you know what I mean? I've like 5 subsidiaries on the go. Let's get out of the way.
We might as well do that on my day when I'm obviously doing my driving.
Yeah.
Captain's day. Captain's farewell.
Who's your charity captain this year?
It's Alzheimer's research.
About that.
And I can't remember the lady captain's one, but it's mine. Not mine. I can't remember.
Well, what you should do then, a potential money raising thing, is auction off board comps this year. Why not? You put your name on the board, but you can have an asterisk next to it. It's a good cause.
Listen, somebody's having a heart attack listening to this.
Christy O'Connor, I'll pay 300 quid on that one. The asterisk on their name on the board. Tell you what, make some money out of that, because you're not going to pay for it, are you? Next year's going to be a blank name. There's no one there.
Well, we can try it.
Well, that point is, well, there's still going to be a little...
How far we'll get.
Well, that's fine. So, how are you finding the club? Think you're in a good spot? New membership? The membership's totally changed, hasn't it, last...
For the better, from my point of view. Obviously, when I first joined Northenden, it was a lot of cliques, a lot of people who've been there a lot of years.
You just mentioned the High Grove. You were the worst clique.
No, the White Hart.
The White Hart. Yeah.
Jeff Morwood, Squeaky. Yeah. You know,
Jeff's a good lad.
Yeah. So, but between those two, yeah, we used to gang up. But I think much for the better, and a lot of the people who've come along have thrown themselves into the club. We have a great atmosphere, or we were having a great atmosphere once we got in the bar area. Have a good crack, and I think it's great. We have a great set of people now, and we've got the spread, or we're getting the spread of younger people coming in. And on that, one of the initiatives that a lot of people don't know is that last year we started looking at the juniors, because we've not had them for years and years. And before that, we used to have a very strong junior area, and we actually had a junior captain of the club.
We don't still have junior captains. We still have a junior captain, do we?
No. We don't have any. We've hardly got any juniors. But that's been rectified, and we're doing it in a relatively slow environment. But And we do have people, Garry Nolan has thrown himself into that sort of role. And that's being moved along within all the confines that we need, i.e. the people training, dealing with children, etc., etc., etc. So we've got all of that in place, and we're moving that along. And hopefully in the next 12 to 18 months, you'll see a very strong junior section, which is great.
I think the gap for us is, in terms of the membership, obviously the ladies can always have larger numbers, but it's always been a challenge with the ladies, it's harder. But on the other sections, we've got enough vets, we've got enough seniors, we've got enough guys my age. It's actually, you're right, it's more that 18 to 25 age old. That's the gap you don't see many of. And, you know, there's a lot of reasons for that. Financial, university, different priorities in life, you know. That's probably like most clubs. How about you, Roy? How have you found it's changed?
Well, it's changed because I've got more involved. Unfortunately, I've probably pushed too many buttons, especially as far as golf is concerned. Because obviously, I suppose I'm still trying to push the button, still trying to change it, because it's very hard to break it down. But once we get there, the membership must appreciate what we're doing now. They've got to start appreciating it. But it's, you know, that's it. I think it's changed. We were much more friendly than when I came. It took me a long time to break into the club.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it. That's changed.
Yeah.
And
it's only by some people realising that you might be sat on your own, that somebody comes and talks to you, that you can eventually get involved. So, you know, nowadays, with the Busby Bar, I think the Busby Bar's a little bit better as well. It's less informal for everybody, so people can hear a little bit more. They can hear a little bit more around the room. And you can, oh, he's a new member, so people do talk to him. And somebody like Larry, as you say, he speaks to most members, because he asks me every Saturday on the start sheet. He don't play golf. He comes in with the start sheet in his hand and said, who's a new member? Are they in the club? And he's waiting, you know, he's got them going out to play at 12 o'clock. He knows they're in at 4. He's waiting for them. So, you know.
Yeah, I know. I'm not breaking the GDPR rules, but yeah.
We have also worked on that over the last 18 months, and hopefully this will continue. And that is, I've dealt with all the new guys coming in, and you know, the first question I asked, do you know anybody at Northenden? And if not, I still want to see them and have a chat with them and tell them. And it's a sales process of telling them what we offer as a golf club, because some people are looking around. And what we've done also, if they don't have anybody, we have a couple of people who will step in. And if they've not got a handicap, for example, because they've not played for a few years, we organise them, and Roy facilitates that. Even on a competition day, they go at the back end of the competition, they start to get the card in. If they get the card in, they're meeting with people. We've got other people who will put their name down with them and help them through that. So we're much more welcoming as a club. And
that's the key, Garry, because people forget the most important word of Northern Golf Club is the club bit.
Yeah.
People seem to forget the club is more that group of people, isn't it? You know, it's not like a gym membership type of thing where you go there just to get it. It is that club feel. You look at all the guys go play snooker all the time. They love that club field. You know, it's all cliques are. It's all that club. It's about having a combined clique. And we're getting near the end of time, so I'm conscious of that. But Roy, on the list of your biggest achievements at Northern Golf Club, the things you're most proud of, how high is you beating Bernie just after the vote in the knockout on that list?
Well, without wanting to offend Bernie too much, what a day.
Yeah, not just for you, Roy, but everyone. When I heard that out, my phone's going ding, ding, ding. I think I screamed across the golf course about that.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very, very good. But yeah, there's lots of people who've made once I decided to join the club, and made me feel better, and they do far outweigh the bad days. So looking forward, I can't wait to get back to playing golf and get told off for changing all the comps again.
One of my biggest memories, Roy, was actually recently playing with you. Well, I only played 5 qualifying comps last year, which is actually quite a lot for me. But one of those days, we were stood on the 12th tee box off the whites. Yeah, it was last year. and you must have played that hole for the whites thousands of times.
You're right.
And you've hit this tee shot, like normal, not a good shot, hard ground, bounce, 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 rolls up, gets on the green. And by this point, I'm already walking on the tee or walking down, whatever. Suddenly you've erupted, screaming, jumping up and down, going, it's nowhere near the hole. It's not hole in one. I don't know what's happened. And I'm proud to say I was there the first time you've ever hit that green and won.
It wasn't quite off the whites though, Lex. I still
not white. The yellows.
Yellows. Actually went well.
A story I always tell people too about you, Roy, is this is years ago now. This is like 2009, 2010. We're playing off the whites, obviously the random medal, and we're playing with the newest member. And on the 13th, and the newest member goes, how far to the ditch? Obviously, I've never thought about that. I don't think about that. I'm going, no, I haven't got a clue. Suddenly, without anything, you've come out 161 to the front, 164 something to the back. And I thought you were making that. I thought, how do you know that? And you remember what your reply was?
I do indeed. When the course was redesigned, Albert O'Rourke, when we walked round with him, Albert O'Rourke told me that that's exactly what it was. And it's the distance I can just hit comfortably. So I don't attack the ditch on the 13th.
You said a good drive goes straight in the ditch.
Good drive straight in.
And what club did you have in your hand that day? A driver.
Always.
Hopefully it hits it well, or I hit it well and it goes over the bridge. How about you, Gary? Being captain's got to be up there.
Oh yeah, the captaincy. Yeah, but I've had 2 holes in one at Northenden.
Have you? Which holes?
Yeah. The first one was a good shot. The pin was over the bunker on the 8th, and I hit a good 7-iron, and I was with Alan Grosvenor at the time and Peter Lynch.
Oh yeah.
They went on ahead, and I teed off last when I get there. Can't see it anywhere. They can't see the ball anywhere, so they're looking everywhere apart from the hole. And they knew it was in the hole. And I'm thinking, it's not in the hole. I'm wandering around for about 5 minutes until they find me. But that was a good shot. But I played with Monty and Dave Nelson, and same hole, and I thinned it. Now it wasn't over the bunker; it was to the side, and it went straight in. You should have seen Monty. I've never seen. He went white. Because he'd never had a hole in one. He went mad.
These stories which make me hate golf. I've never had one. I've had some sweet. I've never had one.
Oh, I've had one. I had one on the 4th.
Have you?
I called him mixed.
Doesn't matter when, as long as you get one.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I just want to say, well, first of all, on behalf of the golf club, Roy, thank you for all you do. It does go a lot of time. It is a thankless task. That most people, I'd say probably 99% of people don't realise what's involved with your job. And without it, there wouldn't be any organised golf. So keep doing what you're doing. You have more fans than not. Me being one of them. So thanks again. Thanks for joining me here. And Captain, known you for years, done lots of things on the golf course, outside the golf course, been partners together. Great to have you on board, mate. Try and have the great rest of the year. Hopefully, might get extended either. And you know what? As Roy said, I'll pee myself. You're the first captain to be captain for the drive-in, probably. First captain to be GM as well. Let's also be the first captain to have Captain's Day drive-in or farewell all on the same day. That'd be great. But lads, keep safe, families as well, and let's see you playing golf one day with beer soon. My round next.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lexi. Cheers, mate. Cheers. Bye.